Elijah stood alone before the altar, his voice rising to the heavens as he prayed. And then, fire exploded down from the sky like a roaring dragon, consuming everything in its path. The sacrifice, the wood, the stones, even licking up every last drop of water from the trench around the altar. 450 prophets of the fake god Baal stumbled backward in terror, their mouths hanging open, while thousands of people fell to their knees. One man, one prayer, one God who answers with fire. But how did we get to this jaw-dropping, history-changing moment? Today we're diving into one of the most explosive stories in the entire Bible, the story of Elijah and the fire from heaven. Get ready, because this is going to be epic. Our story takes place in ancient Israel during a time when things had gone terribly, terribly wrong. The king of Israel was a man named Ahab, and he had made some really bad choices. Instead of worshiping the one true God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, King Ahab decided to worship a fake god called Baal, and his wife, Queen Jezebel, was even worse. She convinced almost everyone in Israel to forget about God and bow down to Baal instead. Picture this: temples to Baal everywhere, altars to fake gods on every hill, and the prophets who spoke for the true God. Jezebel was hunting them down and trying to destroy them. But there was one prophet who refused to be silent. His name was Elijah. Elijah was brave, bold, and completely devoted to God. God had told Elijah to deliver a message to King Ahab saying, "Because you've turned away from God, there will be no rain in Israel, not a single drop, not until I say so." And for 3 long years, the sky stayed dry. No rain meant no crops. No crops meant no food. The people were desperate, hungry, and suffering. King Ahab blamed Elijah for all their troubles. When Ahab finally saw Elijah again, he called him the troubler of Israel. But Elijah didn't back down. He looked the king straight in the eye and said, "I'm not the troubler of Israel. You are. You and your family have abandoned God's commands and followed Baal. Now gather all of Israel at Mount Carmel. Bring all 450 prophets of Baal. It's time to settle this once and for all. Let's see who the real God is." Can you imagine it? Mount Carmel, with thousands and thousands of people gathered on the mountainside. On one side stood 450 prophets of Baal, dressed in their fancy robes, confident and proud. On the other side stood Elijah, just one man, alone, standing for the true God. Elijah raised his voice so everyone could hear. "How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him." The people didn't say a word. They were confused, scared, and didn't know what to believe anymore. So Elijah proposed a challenge, a test that would prove, once and for all, who the real God was. "Here's what we'll do," Elijah announced. "We'll prepare 2 bulls as sacrifices. The prophets of Baal will prepare one, and I'll prepare the other. We'll put them on wood, but we won't light any fire. Then you prophets of Baal will call on your God, and I'll call on the Lord. The God who answers by sending down fire, he is the true God." The people loved the idea. "Yes, let's do it," they shouted. The prophets of Baal went first. They prepared their bull, laid it on the wood, and started calling out to their God, "O Baal, answer us! O Baal, hear us!" They shouted from morning until noon. They danced around their altar. They chanted louder and louder, but nothing happened. No fire, no answer, just silence. By midday, Elijah couldn't help himself. "Shout louder," he called out. "Maybe your God is deep in thought, or maybe he's busy or traveling, or perhaps he's sleeping and needs to be awakened." So the prophets of Baal shouted even louder. They danced more wildly. They worked themselves into a frenzy, crying out from noon until evening. Hours passed, their voices grew hoarse, but still, nothing. No voice, No answer. No fire. Finally, as evening approached, it was Elijah's turn. Elijah called the people to come closer. "Gather around," he said. "And this is where things get really interesting, my little adventurers." First, Elijah repaired the altar of the Lord that had been torn down. He took 12 stones, one for each tribe of Israel, and rebuilt it. Then he dug a deep trench around the altar. He arranged the wood carefully, cut the bull into pieces, and laid it on the wood. But here's the crazy part. Elijah made it harder for himself. He said, "Fill 4 large jars with water and pour it on the sacrifice and the wood." The people did it. Water soaked the sacrifice and the wood. The people did it. Water soaked the sacrifice and the wood. "Do it again," Elijah said. They poured more water. Everything was drenched. "Do it a third time," Elijah commanded. They poured water again until it ran down the altar and filled the trench all around it. The wood was completely soaked. The sacrifice was dripping wet. This was impossible to light. Then Elijah stepped forward. The crowd fell silent. You could hear people breathing. Everyone was watching. And Elijah prayed. Not a long, fancy prayer, but a simple, powerful prayer from his heart. "Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant and have done all these things at your command. Answer me, Lord, answer me, so these people will know that you, Lord, are God, and that you are turning their hearts back again." The moment Elijah finished praying, boom! Fire fell from heaven like a massive lightning bolt. Flames roared down and consumed the sacrifice completely. The meat, the wood, the stones of the altar, even the soil. The fire was so powerful, so intense, that it licked up every single drop of water in the trench. The people gasped. They fell on their faces and cried out, "The Lord, He is God! The Lord, He is God! Not Baal, not any fake god. The Lord, the one true God, had answered with fire. He had shown His power, His reality, His glory for everyone to see." King Ahab stood there, stunned. The prophets of Baal were defeated. And the people of Israel, their hearts were turning back to God, just like Elijah had prayed. But that wasn't even the end. Elijah told Ahab, "Go, eat and drink, because I hear the sound of heavy rain coming." And sure enough, after 3 years of drought, the sky grew dark with clouds, the wind picked up, and rain poured down on the land. God had not only proven He was real, He had restored His people. Wow, my little adventurers, what an incredible story, right? But this isn't just an ancient tale, it's packed with lessons for you and me today. Lesson 1. Stand strong for God, even when you're the only one. Elijah was outnumbered 450 to 1, but he didn't care about the numbers. He cared about the truth. When you know what's right, be brave enough to stand up for it, even if you're standing alone. God is always with you. Lesson 2. God answers prayers in His perfect way and perfect time. Elijah prayed with faith, and God answered in the most spectacular way possible. Sometimes God's answers are quiet, and sometimes they're like fire from heaven. But He always hears you when you pray with a sincere heart. Don't give up. Lesson 3. There's only one true God, and He's real and powerful. The fake gods of this world can't help us. They have no power. But the God of the Bible, the God of Elijah, is alive. He created the universe. He loves you deeply, and He wants a relationship with you. Here's a Bible verse to remember from 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 39. The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God. So, my little adventurers, the next time you feel scared or alone, remember Elijah standing on that mountain. Remember that our God is the God who answers with fire. He's powerful, He's real, and He's on your side. If you love this story, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next amazing Bible adventure. Until next time, keep seeking God with all your heart. And remember, with God on your side, you can do anything. See you soon, adventurers!